Join ForumIAS Academy, trusted by hundreds of toppers, including IAS Rank 1 Shruti Sharma.
Hello friends, this is Vijay. Welcome to ForumIAS Hindu Daily. In our today's news analysis, we are going to see the list of topics in the display. Without any delay, now let us dive into the first topic. Here is the first article. The Indians go west, take up residence by investment. So here in the intro part, actually they have been discussing about one case study, and they have been discussing about the opportunities, lifestyle and education which have been prevailing in Canada. And here in the graph, you can see the proportion of the people who are leaving India are renouncing the Indian citizenship in the past 10 years. Okay. So here they have given high net worth individuals, right? The high net worth individuals are people who are having the net worth of above 8.2 crore or $1 million. Okay. And it had been stated that they have been around 1.49 lakh high net worth individuals are living in just 9 cities: Mumbai, Delhi, Kolkata, Bangalore, Hyderabad, Pune, Chennai, Gurugram and Ahmedabad. Okay. Now let us see the article. And here in the intro part, in 2022 alone, around some 2.25 lakh Indians, they renounced their Indian citizenship, which is the highest ever since 2011. Okay. Here in the graph, you can visibly see the data. In the 2011, almost 1.2 lakh people, they renounced their citizenship. And in the pandemic time, it was way below. And only some 82,000 people, they renounced their citizenship in 2020 because there were a lot of restrictions were there. So therefore, the movement and all was obstructed. But in 2021 and 2022, you can visibly see the graph that the people who are renouncing the Indian citizenship have been skyrocketing. Okay. And I already told you who are high net worth individuals. High net worth individuals are people who are having above 8.2 crore of net worth or $1 million US. And here they have stated the reasons why people have been leaving India in search of better opportunities, then better healthcare, because in Europe and US, you might have known very well that the prevailing healthcare system in US and European countries, which is way better than the healthcare system what it is prevailing in India. Okay, so therefore people who are leaving India for health opportunities also, and the quality of life here in India. Most of the cities, they are riddled with air pollution. In the case study also, they mentioned about the prevailing air pollution in Delhi. So that is also one of the major push factor, because in NCERT, you might have come across the push factor and pull factor, right? Push factors are the factors which are pushing the people from one region to another region, and pulling factors are the better education, health, and the quality of lifestyle, what it have been prevailing in the region. These factors and all will be act as a pull factor. Okay, so also air pollution in India have been playing a role too. That is true, because we came to know about the case study. On the Henley Global Citizens Report, it mentioned that there were 3.47 lakh such people in India. Okay, they are also in a mindset to leave India by renouncing their citizenship. So they just concentrated in 9 cities in India that we have seen, 6 metros plus Gurgaon, Pune, and some other cities, right? So this is all about the high net worth individuals and generally preferred route. Okay, so there are certain routes are there. Some people, they will be doing their masters and they will settle in the foreign countries, and certain established individuals, they will be following certain preferred routes like US EB5 visa, then Portugal Golden Visa, then Australian Global Talent Independent Visa, then Malta Permanent Residency Program, Greece Residence by Investment Program. Apart from these programs, Singapore is also availing the permanent citizenship based on the investment. So if individuals are investing above 3 crore means, the government of Singapore will allow the citizen to reside in the landscape of Singapore. Okay, the lock-in time for the investment is 5 to 7 years. It's based on the investment in what domain they are going to make. Okay. Here actually they had discussed about the scheme which have been prevailing in Portugal. In Portugal, if the individual is purchasing the property worth of 4.4 crore in a high density area means he can avail the citizenship of Portugal, and meanwhile he should also create some 10 jobs for the Portuguese citizens. Okay, and with the Portugal passport they can visit 150 countries without visa. So it is the passport which is having more power than the passport what Indians are having. Okay, then in US minimum investment is around some 6.6 crore over a period of 5 to 7 years. These 5 to 7 years, it is actually general timeline which have been prevailing in most of the countries. I already told you about the Singapore, right? Singapore is also, the timeline is between 5 to 7 years, which means the lock-in time. And he should also create 10 permanent jobs for US citizens. Okay, so which is same as like the condition what it have been prevailing in Portugal. Expert says the investment is not flight of wealth only, but diversification of funds. Apart from these things, we are also facing the knowledge drain, brain drain from India towards towards European and US landscape. Okay. Now let us dive into the next article, the curious case of disqualification of a politician. And here is the article for you. Here you no need to dig deeper into this topic. Okay. You should know what are the things that have been happening and what are the basic provisions, basic constitutional provisions are behind these scenes. That alone you need to study. Recently, actually, Lakshadweep government, Lakshadweep Lok Sabha MP has been disqualified as a member of Lok Sabha after a district court in the Union Territory convicted him. Not only him, along with 3 others in connection with the attempt to murder case. It's not a murder case, it's an attempt murder case. Okay, this disqualification is based on Supreme Court verdicts in Lily Thomas case. It is one of the famous case, the Lily Thomas case. The Supreme Court, it pronounced its judgment in the year of 2013. So according to that judgment, if the convicted citizen, if he is having minimum 2 years of imprisonment, means he will tend to lose the membership of the houses with immediate effect. All right. The specific provisions. First of all, let me tell you the basic provisions what we are having for disqualifications. Firstly, the Article 102 in the Indian Constitution, it specifies that a person shall be disqualified for contesting elections and being a member of parliament under certain conditions. Then the second one, empower the parliament to make necessary acts in this purview. So regarding to the case, what it have been mentioned in the provision 1 of the Article 102, the Article 2 states that the parliament is having the sole power to make the acts in this purview. In this domain, Parliament in the year of 1951 enacted the Representation of People Act, RPA Act 1951. RPA have been listing out certain conditions under which the MP and the MLAs have been deemed disqualified. Section 8 of RPA Act provides that a person will be disqualified if convicted and sentenced to imprisonment for 2 years or more. There are certain exceptions are there. Here the person is disqualified not only for imprisonment period, but also another 6 years following the imprisonment period. That is a cooling time. Okay. So that is a cooling time. If he is getting an imprisonment for 2 years means, or 3 years means, then after that he can't contest any elections for the another 6 years, which means this 6 years it will act as a cooling period. Then I told you about the exception, right? So within 3 months, if the convicted, if he is making an appeal means, then the disqualification will not applicable until the appeal is decided. Okay. So this is the differential treatment. And example, if the sitting member get his conviction in the month of February means, he made an appeal before the end of May. If he is making such an appeal means, the disqualification for removal will be stayed. Then this differential treatment, which have been violating the Article 14. Okay. So according to the Article 14, there should not be any differential treatment among the citizens. But this differential treatment, it clearly delineates the elected representatives from the common citizens. So therefore, it have been violating the Article 14. So if they are doing a crime means, and even after getting the conviction, they need to be treated at par with the common citizens only, right? So in this context, we got a judgment from Apex Court in the form of Lily Thomas case in the year of 2013. So there the Apex Court pronounced that if a member is convicted with a minimum 2 years of imprisonment, then immediate disqualification will come to enforcement. So through this case, it actually lifted the 3 months appeal time. This differential treatment, it had been lifted with the help of Lily Thomas case by the Apex Court. Then, if you remember, there was a original provision according to which a member can appeal in court within 3 months, right? I just told you why they had given 3 months. Because previously in the past, there were a lot of issues where came. So, to understand the particular thing, you might have known the court have been taking so many years to dispense the case, especially the criminal cases. So, if he is making an appeal means he will be enjoying all the rights and power of such constitutionally elected post till the court pronouncing its judgment. So, here the criminal have enjoyed all the rights that you should keep in mind. This particular thing got changed only by the Lily Thomas case. Okay, these all things, this entire scenario, it got changed only because of Lily Thomas case. So, according to this case, the person becomes disqualified. So, here another issue is popping up. Okay, now let us see the implications. What are the implications are there? And here let us discuss about the another issues. So, after this disqualification, the seat, the Lakshadweep MP seat become vacant. And the Election Commission of India, they should conduct the election. But they pronounced that they are going to defer the election process. They also stated that the election to this constituency will be conducted along with the general election of 2024. The reason what they had stated is the conducting the election will be a costly affair, and moreover, still we are having 1 year time period. So the election commission, it didn't want to pound out the expenditure what it have been requiring for conducting the elections. So now a lot of questions are coming whether the removal of disqualification can be backdated as if it never happened and the election avoided. Second question, whether the disqualification is removed only from the date of stay order. So these are the few questions which have been flaring up. Here, you are not required to dig too much deep into these issues. Can the election commission defer the election? Can the disqualification comes to enforcement from today itself? These are the legal questions emerged here, right? But you are not supposed to analyze too much because all these issues will require certain time, and the legal institutions, they need to come up with better clarity to resolve the opaqueness prevailing in these issues. Okay, so we are going to see more and more articles regarding this issue in the upcoming days also. So let us discuss all these stuffs in those analysis. That's it, friends. That is all about this particular article. Now let us dive into the next article, the Supreme Court on sealed cover jurisprudence. So here in the underlined part, they had given that the routine handling over of sealed covers in court by the state, the concerns of which are unknown to the other parties, often fighting for life, freedom and personal liberty, is eroding public confidence in the open court principle of justice administration. So this article is related to the GS2 issues of polity topic. Within that, this is related to the issues in judiciary. The article, I think we had discussed 2 or 3 days back also. So there are a lot of developments have been going on this particular segment for past 6 months. We should ask ourselves what is meant by sealed cover jurisprudence, right? So here the YN News, CJI D.Y. Chandrachud, he actually rejected the suggestions what it had been given in the sealed cover. So what is meant by sealed cover jurisprudence? It is a practice in which documents or recommendations or testimonials or any evidences will be given to the judiciary by government in a sealed cover envelope. This is the sealed cover envelope, and which means whatever the content government is providing to the judiciary, it will not be shown to any other party. The other party may be public, the other party may be public, or it may be accused who involved in that case, or it may be media or any other person. Okay, the third party can be any other person. So it will not be shown to any other party, and this is the sealed cover practice. You know, recently the Adani Hindenburg case, it have been flaring up, and we had discussed about in a more elaborated way in our previous analysis. Let me explain basic glimpse of the article. Hindenburg, it actually accused Adani Enterprises for overinflating the stock prices. Okay, so stock inflation was done by Adani Enterprises, and Hindenburg accused Adani apart from inflating the stock prices, they also made allegations regarding the account manipulations, then money laundering and all. Okay. For that, they did stock manipulations by creating artificial demand for their shares through in-house purchase through various organizations like shell companies with some hidden mechanisms, and then the account manipulations. Okay, these are the stuffs the Adani Enterprises had did. Like that, the Hindenburg have been making a claim. So because of this report, the share prices of Adani stocks slumped, but lot of public enterprises like LIC, SBI, these all entities, they have been invested in Adani stocks. So they also incurring huge losses because of these allegations. We don't know whether the allegations what did by Hindenburg is true or fake, but regarding that issue, the opposition parties, people, media, and legal experts, they demand a committee to be constituted. So, which should study whether the act done by Hindenburg is having any concrete evidence or not. For that particular thing, the committee has to be constituted, right? For that, the central government had recommended some names for that committee, but the Honorable CJI, D.Y. Chandrachud, he firmly refused to accept the suggestions offered by the central government in the sealed cover. This act shows, indirectly, this act shows the judicial awareness, what it have been prevailing in the judicial system, and this practice, it has begun to threaten the credibility of the judicial institution itself. Okay, so these are the few challenges which have been coming through the sealed cover jurisprudence, and many number of times in the past also these things happened, I'll tell you. But here several questions are raised against judiciary. Why judiciary is allowing non-transparent practices to happen? Like that, people have been asking several questions. And these days, it have been becoming a routine, handling over sealed covers in court by the state, the contents of which are unknown to other parties. In certain cases, people charged with cases will be in court. In that time, they don't know what the government had been presenting against them through the sealed cover jurisprudence. So, if they don't know the charges or recommendations in the sealed cover, means how they will defend, or how their advocates will defend the accused people against evidences they don't know. Here, the right to free and fair trial is getting defeated. These are the happenings in the other cases. Let us come to the contemporary issue. In the recent past, the sealed documents handed over to the government in many occasions, like Rafale purchase deal, then Assam National Register of Citizen cases, then the Gujarat police fake encounter case, and then Ayodhya case. Then in the Media One telecast ban case, this television went off air, and the government banned this media due to certain anti-national programs what it had broadcasted. But the recommendations and evidences against the Media One had been provided in sealed cover. So they don't know how to defend the case, how to testify against the evidences. So let me come to this case again. And here the government had shown the grounds of national security. So there are certain legal procedures are there regarding to the sealed cover jurisprudence. The first one is Rule 7 of Supreme Court. Okay, Supreme Court rules, Rule 7. And Section 123 of Indian Evidence Act 1872. These documents or evidences or suggestions can be given in a sealed cover. Okay, so these are the two sections which have been ruling this process. Then, according to the Article 145, the Supreme Court can make rules for regulating the practice and procedure of the court. Here, you can expect a prelims question. They can give you, the Parliament can make rules for regulating the practice and procedure of the court process related to the sealed cover jurisprudence. But it is the Supreme Court which can make the rules related to the sealed cover jurisprudence. Then in the extenuating circumstances, another one case is also mentioning, which is SP Velumani case. The Apex Court, it criticized the decisions of the Madras High Court that which allowed the sealed cover jurisprudence when state hadn't make any claim or privileges for the sealed cover jurisprudence. Without any request from the state government, unilaterally, the High Court had extended their privilege. So the Apex Court, it actually slammed the High Court. Similarly, the Apex Court, it admonished the Bihar government when it attempted to give information in sealed cover in the Muzaffarpur shelter case. Okay, so these are the two most important cases. Then also in Pegasus case, the Apex Court stated that the state can't get a free pass every time on the grounds of national security, because to infuse certain informations into the court hall, the government, it often use the ground of national security. So therefore, in the Pegasus case, the Supreme Court, it stated that the government is not supposed to use their national security often to get a free pass of sealed cover jurisprudence. And it also insists the judiciary institutions to question themselves why the national security comes into a picture and how the national security is affected by this act. So this is how the apex court have been advising the lower courts. And only under extenuating circumstances alone, the government is supposed to use the privilege what it had been availed under the sealed cover jurisprudence. All right. So this is the information all about this article. Now let us have a look into the next article, sickle cell anemia. The article is all about the sickle cell anemia. How is India addressing the sickle cell anemia? And recently, the finance minister, he announced with respect to the elimination of sickle cell diseases by 2047, the government is determined to eliminate the sickle cell disease from the soils of India. And in the budget also, it witnessed certain statements. So therefore, we are supposed to analyze this article. This topic is related to the GS2 health and social justice. And the sickle cell anemia is there since the time of human evolution. So these days, why it acquired the big picture and the front line of these days means, I already told you, the finance minister announced the government plan of eradicating the sickle cell anemia by 2047. So India will also celebrating the 100th year of Independence Day in 2047. So in that time, we are supposed to eliminate these diseases. So let us discuss some facts about sickle cell anemia. India is the second largest country carrying sickle cell anemia patients in terms of predicted births. Okay, which means the chances of being born with the condition. The probability of the child who is getting birth with the sickle cell anemia is the second highest in the world. Okay, so India is occupying the second place. So what is sickle cell anemia? Actually, you all well known about the hemoglobin, right? Hem means iron, globin means protein. So it is an iron protein which will transport the oxygen to all parts of the body and will carry the carbon dioxide from all parts of human body to the lungs, where the gas exchange and the transportation and all will happen. Because of some genetic conditions, some genetic disorders, there will be some repercussions in the proteins of the hemoglobin. Generally, in hemoglobin, 4 proteins will be there, 2 alpha proteins and 2 beta proteins. So, because of the genetic conditions or some genetic disorders, these beta subunits will affect the shape of blood cells, especially the red blood cells. And generally, the blood cells will be in the shape of spherical or round shape. But due to genetic disorders, they will become to a shape similar to sickle. Here in the image, you can see it is like a sickle. Okay, here it is in the round shape. It is a normal RBC. Here it is a sickle cells which have been blocking the blood flow. And you might have known geometrically, round blood cells will move freely through the blood vessels because there will be very low frictions. But once the cells transform to sickle shape means they will entangle with each other and it will create the blockages. So nutrient and oxygen delivery and all will be decisively impacted. Once the issue become very serious means the patient will die. Okay. So this is all about the sickle cell. Since it is a genetic disorder, many number of times genes from parents have been acting as a contributing factor for this disease. Now let us see about the treatment protocols available for the sickle cell anemia. And because government proclaimed to eradicate it from Indian soil by 2047, right? Therefore, we are supposed to have a look on the treatment protocols available for the sickle cell diseases. Since it is a genetic disorder, eliminating it is a very big challenge. So several genetic breakthroughs are required. Right now, we are having gene therapy and stem cell transplant. Gene therapy in the fetus itself, certain genetic corrections and all will be carried out. Therefore, the occurrence of the sickle cell anemia in the future will be eliminated. Stem cell transplants, you know the potential of the stem cells, right? So in this treatment protocol, they will be using the stem cells for eradicating the sickle cell anemia. But these procedures are very costly and only elite people, they can afford this treatment protocol. Therefore, complete elimination might not be possible with these treatment protocols like gene therapy and stem cell transplants. We should also see the treatment protocols available for the patients who are suffering from sickle cell. Firstly, they can opt to blood transfusion they can opt to blood transfusion. Here the affected blood will be removed and a fresh blood will be transfused into the patient's body. But here we are facing lot of challenges. What are the challenges? Firstly, it doesn't have any permanent cure. And secondly, in India, we are facing huge crunch for blood donors. Then thirdly, there is a risk of infections and the safe supply of donors are also negligible in India. So these are the few challenges we are facing with respect to the blood transfusion techniques. Now let us see some correlations between the malaria and sickle cell anemia. As per the data from India and rest of the countries, whenever and wherever the region the malaria is endemic means sickle cell anemia is also prevailing in these regions. And you all well know that malaria will be having extensive presence in the tropical regions. These tropical regions, which are characterized by intense heat, heavy downpour, etc. You might have known most of the tropical regions are tribal habitats from Amazon region, then the Central Africa, then some parts of Sri Lanka, then Southeast Asian countries. So these all are habiting the tribal people, and therefore the tribal people, they are the worst hitters of not only malaria but also by sickle cell too. Also, another one fact is that behind their prevalence, they are more prevailing in communities who are practicing endogamy. And you should also know what is meant by endogamy. Endogamy is a social practice. It is a social practice where the marriages and all will be happen within the social group itself. We can say caste marriages are endogamy, and these days some intercaste marriages are happening, which will be termed as a exogamy. It will come under the title of exogamy. So these endogamy, it actually infuriating the caste. And exogamy, I already told you, it is a marriage which have been happening between the non-identical social groups. Between several castes actually these days, due to the modern evolution, the marriages and all happening. So these marriages and all will fall under a exogamy. So because of the endogamic marriages, the carrier of the sickle cell will be prevailing within that same social group. Therefore, the prevalence of sickle cell anemia among themselves is very high, because in the cross-social group marriages, the mating will be happen with the social group having less vulnerability to sickle cell anemia. Therefore, the probability of elimination of trait is very high in the exogamic marriages but not in the endogamic marriages. Now let us discuss what the government is doing in the fight against the sickle cell anemia. Here the ICMR, Indian Council of Medical Research, and the NRHM, National Rural Health Mission, they are taking outreach programs. So through these outreach programs, they are providing treatments and education. They are providing treatments, education, which are necessary for them regarding the better management and control of the diseases. Also in the budget, Union Health Minister announced that the special health cards, especially to the tribal people who are in the below 40 of age category, so they will be provided with health cards. Based on screening, they will categorize the people. In that screening, whether the patient is having sickle cell anemia or not will be categorized. And if they are confirmed with the sickle cell anemia means, first one is yes or no. Then if they are having yes means, based on the intensity, the group will be categorized as A, B, C, D, like that. So what are the treatment plans can be done will be shortlisted and the effective care will be given to these people. This is all about the entire article. Now let us see the next one. India plans to export solar power. Officials. Here in the underlying part, the country can produce annually solar modules that can generate 100 gigawatt and become a net exporter of power, says Secretary, Ministry for New and Renewable Energy, Bhupendra Balla. High customs duty on Chinese components and land acquisition challenges hamper switch to non-fossil fuels. So these are the few factors which have been hampering the India's ambitious project of encouraging some 40 to 50% of renewables in the energy basket. And here is the news. YN News, by 2026, India can produce 100 gigawatt per year in line with the 500 gigawatt by 2030 target. So these are the targets we had fixed. And according to the Panchamrit strategy, we are having a commitment of adding 50% of the renewables into the energy basket. And by 2070, we committed that we will be achieving a net zero. By 2070, India will be a net zero. Net zero means the amount of carbon India have been emitting and the amount which India is going to sequester will be neutralized. So therefore, the net carbon emission will be 0 by 2070. This is what we had committed under the Panchamrit strategy of COP26 Glasgow. Then what are the issues in solar sector? 175 gigawatt 2022 target not fulfilled. This is under the National Solar Mission, which is one of the mission under the National Action Plan on Climate Change. The government revised the target before we were keeping the target below 50,000, but later the government revised it to 1 gigawatt, 100 gigawatt. Okay, so this 175 gigawatt we hadn't fulfilled. Only 122 gigawatt had been done, and the solar target of 100 gigawatt, only 62 gigawatt had been done. And these all among the 62 gigawatt, most of the power we are getting from a grid connected solar projects, not from the rooftop solar projects. And as per the National Solar Mission, we are supposed to get the 40% of the solar energy from the rooftop projects. But the government, even though it had given an enormous focus on the rooftop solar projects, we didn't get any fruitful results. So the bottleneck is the cost of the solar modules, because the import cost and all is very high, and the land acquisition is also very enormous process. Therefore, the production hadn't been fulfilled the target, and we need 30 to 40 gigawatt for domestic consumption. The rest can be exported, and the land acquisition problems for producing every 1 megawatt, we are requiring 4 acres of land. So this is very enormous, and in India, almost 50% of the people, they have been depending upon the agriculture sector. So therefore, it is very tricky for the government agencies to procure the land from them. And in the future, we are going to emphasize more on the hybrid parks, where not only solar energy, but also the wind and all will be clubbed into the solar panels. So therefore, the battery storage system and all will be erected. Therefore, the power output will be very reliable in the hybrid parks compared to the solar parks what we are creating these days. So the article is all emphasizing about the PM Kusum scheme. It is about providing alternative income to the farmers through the erection of the solar panels. So under the scheme, the farmers supposed to install 10,000 megawatt of solar power at a cost of 34,000 crore. Okay, so till now the government had spent some 34,000 crore for the erection of 20 lakh off-grid solar pumps and solarization of grid-connected pumps, which amounts to 15 lakh. So these are the few features of the Kusum scheme. And 27.5 lakh solar water pumps will be distributed among the farmers. 17.5 lakh pumps will be installed off-grid to aid integration needs of the farmers in the remote locations. The farmers can sell surplus power generated off-grid to discoms to earn 60,000 annually per acre. We already discussed, from 4 acres of land, we can get 1 megawatt. So 10 lakh pumps will be installed in locations where grid is available along with the solarization of existing pumps. Then the next one, grid connected solar power plants up to 2 megawatt capacity each will be installed in rural areas. So these are the few features of the PM Kusum scheme that you should know. Then what are the benefits we are having with respect to the PM Kusum scheme? The first one, the reliable power output. Then the carbon emission will be reduced. Then farmers' income will be doubled. Okay, farmers' income will be doubled. So these are the few benefits we are going to get through the implementation of PM Kusum scheme. So here is the question part. The first one, the prelims question. Consider the following statements with respect to the sickle cell anemia. The first statement, it is a single gene disorder. It is a genetic disorder that we had seen, and in the statement they had given, it is a single gene disorder. Then the second one, it is prevailing in all the geographical regions except subtropical region. We had seen about the correlation between the sickle cell anemia and the malaria. So therefore the statement came, and you should know the sickle cell anemia, it have been prevailing in almost all the regions, but the intensity is very high in the tropical regions where it have been coexisting with the malaria. So the first statement, it is a single gene disorder, that is true, but the second statement is wrong. So the answer statement A is the right one for the question number 1. Then the second statement, PM Kusum scheme recently appeared in news, is related to the elimination of malaria. Then the second one, rural livelihood project. Then the third one, solar energy. Then the fourth one, dispensation of albendazole tablets. Albendazole tablets, the government have been dispersing to eliminate the helminthisis. So these are the 4 options they had given, and sometimes the UPSC will ask you a direct fact question like this one. And here we have seen that PM Kusum scheme is solely the government have been implementing this scheme for increasing the farmers' income and to get the or to ramp up the solar power production. Therefore, the option C is the right one for question number 2. Then here is the mains question for you. We don't get any direct questions for the topics what we had discussed today. But indirectly, we got one question. Describe the achievements made under the NAPCC, National Action Plan on Climate Change. It is an umbrella program under which some 8 schemes the government had implemented. The National Solar Mission, which is also a part of the National Action Plan on Climate Change. So you can list out the achievements what we made under the NAPCC. Then elucidate India's momentum towards achieving 50% renewable energy in the power sector basket. So by 2030, we are supposed to achieve or we are supposed to add 50% of the renewables into our energy basket. So we should list out what are the initiatives the government have been taking in this front. Like we are erecting the wind turbines and the medium segment hydropower plants, then micro power plants and all have been getting installed by the government of India, that we need to list out with some of the images and facts. So this is how you should make a skeleton for this answer. Just write it out and let me catch you in another analysis tomorrow, friends. Thank you for your patience. Bye.